Tucson, Arizona. This is Doomette of Trader Doom, taking you on a little bit of a different adventure today. You know we live in Tucson, Arizona, and today we thought we would take you on a little tour of our very own Kon Tiki Bar. Kon Tiki has been here since 1963 and is virtually unchanged other than the buildings around it and some small updates on the inside. Walking into Kon Tiki is like a complete time capsule back into the 60s tiki bars, and we just had to show you around. So come along with us inside Kon Tiki and we'll show you what it's all about. You can almost not even see the building from the street because there's so much vegetation now that's grown around the building, which makes for a really awesome entrance over this little bridge into paradise, walking through all this lush vegetation past the mural, and already you can see some of these awesome Milan Guanko tikis that are outside of the bar. As we enter into the bar, you are greeted with a dark and tropical ambiance. Again, much of this decor has not been touched or updated since 1963, with maybe the exception of, new chairs, new tables, and removal of some carpet. But otherwise, a lot of this decor that you're seeing in here is original decor. Unfortunately, one of the things that has changed since its heyday are that a lot of these Milan Guanko tikis have been painted on, so you'll see a lot of funky colors on the tikis, which is kind of a bummer. But otherwise, a lot of this stuff is straight up from the 60s and has been here since then. Now, if you're familiar with Kon Tiki, you may know that in the past they have not exactly been known for their drinks, but recently they updated their menu to include this amazing artwork by Sue, who goes by 50s Vintage Dame on Instagram. I don't really know what her full name is, but she's done some tiki books, she's done some menus, a lot of cool tiki prints, and she did all the art for their new menu. And when she redid the art, they also redid a lot of their cocktails, so much of the recipes, many of the recipes that they're using now are going to be much improved from what they once were, which honestly is good because, again, in the past they've not exactly been known for having the best drinks. This is the Puka Punch. It's my personal favorite off the new menu. I absolutely love it. It's a classic tiki cocktail. You have to try it. I believe Trader Doom here is drinking maybe the Jet Pilot, I think was his first drink, also super yummy. And they also have a lot of really talented bartenders now that are committed to doing much better drinks than they once were known for. Their food menu is also super extensive and has been for a while. They have tons and tons of kind of Polynesian-inspired food, but also just lots of burgers and good entrees, some sort of Chinese type of stuff, lots of good appetizers and shareables. We actually came for happy hour, and happy hour is a great deal for a lot of their food items, just really cheap food. We got the coconut shrimp, which is one of our favorites, the Hawaiian nachos, and the sliders with the barbecue pulled pork, which is always one of my favorites, the Kahlua pulled pork. While the menu has a lot of different stuff to choose from, I'd say it's not the most impressive menu ever, but it's definitely decent. It's definitely more of a bar food style menu, nothing super fancy, but always really enjoyable and always really good for when you are sitting around and drinking a lot. Now, there are a couple things that are not our favorite as tiki people about Kon Tiki. For example, you might be able to see kind of against the bar wall, there's these big bright windows that during the day let in a lot of light. You might also be able to see that there's actually multiple TVs, usually playing sports and the news, which is kind of a bummer, but we always still have a great time. So we got kind of overwhelmed by the crowd here on this happy hour, so we actually left after a couple drinks and came back the next day for lunch when it was a little chiller, so to speak. So you can see here, this is during the day. There's a lot of light coming in the windows. You can see those TVs have news on them, which is not exactly great for escapism, but it's still a really cool place. We used to come for lunch oh my God, I don't know, 4 times a week. And without all the people in there, you can really see all the great structure inside, even behind the bar. So much detail in the shelving with the bamboo and just all the material on the walls. We did come back this day and get actual entrees for our lunch, so we had a little more substantial food. I love the katsu chicken sandwich. If you're ever here, I highly recommend it. Here is that awesome fountain. This is original from the 60s. Either side you have some of those Milan Guanko tiki carvings. Again, you can see that they're painted, which is a big bummer, but they're still really cool. There are so many places to sit. This place is actually huge. This is the lounge, I believe, kind of up front, followed by the hut just next to it. And they're kind of these like covered seating areas. You can see just so much cool tiki decor, little tiny details all over the place, and so much to look at, which is one of the things I love about tiki bars, is just being able to look around and notice different things. And the rooms just keep going. Like, you can turn the corner and there's this whole other side of the building that has even more seating. You can see it kind of has a little covered roof. You go through this little tiny hallway, and it's just like a complete other area. And they actually only open this usually on the weekends or for big reservations, but this area is actually my favorite because there's so much cool decor back here. It's so dark back here, and there's a lot of actual orchids of Hawaii kind of lamps, different stuff from oceanic arts hanging on the wall, just like tons of awesome vintage stuff. Plus you actually have this like grass hut roof. I just love being back here. It is so awesome. If you can sit back here, definitely try to sit back here. Lots of tikis all throughout the bar to check out again. Aside from the fact that they're painted, they are still really cool. Milan Guanko is a 50s and 60s tiki carver, and just this stuff is really classic. You can see this one's kind of in bad shape too. A lot of stuff here, unfortunately, again, isn't super well maintained, so some of it's falling apart, some of it's ripped in places, but overall, you still get to walk in and just feel like, oh my gosh, all of this has been here for so many years, and you just don't see stuff like this in newer contemporary tiki bars. There are so few vintage tiki bars left, and it's so cool to be able to walk in and see this old stuff. This is their patio. This is a newer edition. I don't know how new, but obviously not original. There's a lot of great tikis out here too that are super just like falling apart from weather, from being outside, from being painted, but they're still so great to see. Painted here, you can see this one's just like kind of swollen. It's got cracks in it. This one makes me so sad. This one is just like rotting to hell, but still so gigantic, so awesome. Well, we really hope you enjoyed the tour of Kon Tiki from 1963 here in Tucson, Arizona. If you ever find yourself down in Tucson, definitely worth the trip. Definitely stop by and check out all this badass vintage tiki, because this is as original as it gets. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.